Oh, not so good. TrackMan says I had a path of 5.7 degrees inside to out. Boy, that's too much. In this video, I'm going to talk about why club path is so important and what you want yours to be, roughly. So, stick around. So path is really important because it determines, or it helps determine how straight you're going to hit the ball consistently. So path on a driver, well, it's only about 15 or 20% of the significance in where the ball goes. But if you're swinging too far inside to out, like I did on that one, what I'm going to have to do to get the ball back to the center line again is I'm going to have to introduce more face closure. I'm going to have to get it rolling over like this, which makes it susceptible to an overhook into the left rough as well. So it becomes a two-way miss as I try to correct it. I get the high push and I get the hook. If you're outside in too much, you would get the opposite. You get the low pull and you get the high slice. So the straighter you can get the path, it means that you're going to tend to hit the ball a little bit straighter. Not always, but it's going to be a tendency. So where do you want it to be? You want it to be, depends on how far you're hitting the ball. If you're hitting the ball really far, if you're hitting the ball 300 yards or more, if you're going to keep it in play, you're probably going to need to keep your path between plus or minus 2, maybe plus or minus 3. But as soon as you get over 300 yards, even a 3-degree push that goes straight is probably going to miss the fairway. So we never want our dead straight shot to miss the fairway. So you're trying to tighten the path to say plus or minus 2. 3 would be all right, but just don't let it get 4 or more like I did on that swing, because your consistency is going to definitely be curtailed when your path is too far from center. Let me try another one here, and let's see if I can straighten out my path from that 5.7 and make it a little straighter. The shot was terrible, but I did what I was trying to do. I got my path to 1.7 degrees into out, so that's a big improvement. I'm just trying to get the feel. What does it feel like to swing on a straighter path, whether that's in or out, too far in, too far out? The first thing is just to try to get a feel for how your body's going to be behaving. What does it feel like to swing on the perfect arc? Not easy at first, especially changing, 5 or 6 degrees. It won't happen overnight. I'm not going to get it on the first try. Let's try one more. My goal here to win the $1 million is I'm going to try to get a path that's outside to in 1 degree. Make me really happy. Well, the shot shape was I was real close. I got that to only 0.9 inside to out. That's really straight with the path. That's fantastic. I would take that. So I just got to sit here and I got to hit a few more just like that. If you're not hitting it 250 or over 300, you have a little bit more leeway just from the geometry of the ball spreading out left and right. Just look at the angles. At 300 yards, if maybe a 3-degree push or pull goes into the rough, and this is why even the guys that play a cut on tour that hit it really far, like Dustin Johnson or Brooks Koepka, they're like 1 or 2, 2.5 degrees out to in. Even they're not straying. You're not going to find these days too many guys on tour that are straying outside like 3 degrees outside in, inside out. You might get a couple that are 4, but for the most part, with TrackMan, they've gotten their paths pretty straight. But if you're only a guy or a gal who's hitting it 150, 200, 225, those distances, well, then you can get away with a little bit more because your push or your pull or your hook or your slice are not going to be so crooked. You know, you just don't hit as much. The ball just doesn't curve as much when you're hitting it softer. And I've got a 7.5 degree driver here. If you're playing a 11 degree driver, 10 degree driver, that's also going to have an effect on not slicing or hooking the ball as much, as the more loft on a club, the less it's going to curve. So you can get away with a little bit more. You might be able to get away with a path of plus or minus 5 or 6 if you're only hitting it out to 225. If I had a student hitting it that far, you know, I wouldn't say anything about the path. That wouldn't be my priority, is to make the path, you know, a 220 yard drive. If they were swinging 5 or 6 into out, I'd just say, okay, cool. That's great. Let's focus on something else more important than that. So path is really important because of its role in hitting the ball straight. Now remember how we're measuring path on TrackMan. We're measuring at the precise moment of impact. What direction is the club headed in? So a 0 path on TrackMan would represent a club head moving directly at the target for that instant. Remember, it's just a moment in time, a photograph. While the club is in the process of arcing, for that one instant, it's moving right up the fairway. So hey, that's how important path is. Helps you hit the ball a lot straighter. Also helps you with your low point control, getting your divot ahead on irons. I'll cover that in another video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.